How to make Doom Wielder gauntlets by David J. Guyton. Why are they called Doom Wielder? Because it sounds cool, that's why. Follow along and I'll show you how you can make these awesome gauntlets too. This is my own design, of course, but I get a lot of requests for Warhammer armor, so this is sort of inspired by that. These would also make really cool motorcycle gloves for any of you guys who are into that. Stay tuned because later in the video I show you how you can enter to win both of these gauntlets. Anyway, grab your hammers, let's get started. Get the template to build this yourself by clicking the link under the video or the icon in the upper right hand corner of the video, or go directly to armortemplates.com where all of my templates are available. I'm now on Patreon. If you'd like to help support this channel and get cool rewards like discount coupons, free templates, and more, click the Patreon link under the video. And thank you. By the way, this template includes a free ebook copy of my latest book, The Moon Through the Lonely Window, Explorations in Philosophy. So check it out and let me know what you think. Cut your pieces out using your preferred method. I just used aviation snips this time. And as you can see, I've used a Scotchbrite pad to scuff the surface all over. This is so it looks better and also it accepts the paint later on. This is my finger jig. You've seen this before. It's just a 1-inch pipe embedded in a piece of wood. And I'm going to put the pieces in here, the finger pieces in here, and then hit this 3/4 inch pipe and shape the pieces. This goes for all of the finger plates. Looks good. Make sure to keep track of your parts, label them, and keep them in order. Make things much easier for you. The knuckle plates that go on the top are made the same way, basically just hammered inside this thing. The same with the little pieces you see here. This is a piece from a Dapping Set, and I'm just rounding the knuckle pieces I just described. And it's not that hard to do, and if you don't have a Dapping Set, you can even use a ball peen hammer put in a vise. So I strongly suggest doing this. It's not very hard and it makes everything look a lot more professional. Here you can see the difference. On the left is the finished piece. The thumb pieces are too big to fit into the finger jig, so I'm just rounding them on a piece of exhaust pipe. And I've also got a couple of these pieces have some lines scored into them. You don't have to do that, of course, but I thought it would look pretty cool, so I gave it a shot. You'll need to make 2 bends here and here. Note that the pinky side is going to be at a bit of an angle to fit your hand a little bit better. And I'm just rounding it with a rawhide mallet over a piece of exhaust. Fit looks pretty good. Now I'm using the same method I used before to round the edges of the main hand plate. Nice. And the brass pieces as well. Of course you don't have to use brass, guys. You can use any metal or any material you want. Here I'm making sure the pieces fit together. And I'm using a file to get rid of the little bit of bumpy area at the tips here. And then afterwards, I just hit it with a piece of Scotchbrite pad. You can use sandpaper too, but this is easier. Now I've got a washer inside this thing. This is just to give it a little bit of space to mark where these holes go for better articulation. Also, you're going to have to trim here a little bit. I made those pieces a little bit big because yours may be a little different than mine. And now for the fun part, this is the repoussé. I actually have a full video on how I do this, so I won't bore you too much with it, but check that video out for sure. I'm just using a blunted screwdriver end that I have pulled out of the handle, and I just sanded it so it's not sharp at all. And I'm just hammering on it along the edges, kind of tracing along. Now this is a piece from a Dapping Set, a very small piece, and I've flipped the piece over and I'm pushing from the back. Now under this is a piece of stiff rubber to push against. You can also use some craft foam if you don't have the stiff rubber like this. Not just flipping it over a couple of times back and forth and working it like this, you'll end up with a really impressive piece of art to put on your armor. Almost finished there, it looked pretty good. Now, before you cut it out, make sure to curve it a bit because it will crinkle later on if you try to curve it after. And I just use regular scissors to cut the pieces out. Don't use scissors you care about though, because they're not going to last. Using these little brass tacks, I attached this to the armor, and I'm actually filling it in with a little bit of hot glue just to give it a little bit more strength. Put these in and cut them off and hammer them down from the back. This is 5-minute epoxy, and I'm gluing all the finger plates on with this stuff. You don't have to do that, you can just rivet it on, but it's just so much work, so I thought I would do it this way. Now I've got a pipe here in a vise and a piece of leather, and I'm just gluing each piece to the piece of leather. Now I guess you could glue them directly to the glove, but I did this so that I had complete control over the alignment of all these pieces. So later on this gets glued to the glove. These pieces get glued to the glove now, and as you can see, the leather kind of bunches up a bit, so we're going to cut that out. That's better. Now mark where the holes will go for the rivets, and remove your hand before you do this and punch holes. Now I've got roofing nails put through the holes and the metal, and I'm going to cut those off and then rivet them down. Now the two very forwardmost ones, like this one here, can be tight, but the other one should be a little bit loose to allow for articulation. Now I'm going to glue the finger plates, or I guess assembled fingers on. And once that's done, I decided to use oil paint to give this a little bit of an aged, weathered look. And you just basically brush this on and then wipe most of it off. I prefer this look to the shiny look. Plus I wanted them to look very old and like they've been out in the universe fighting battles and stuff. It also offers a little bit of rust resistance. And there you have it. Very simple build. I know it looks very complicated, but it's not that much work to it. It does take a little bit of time, of course, just like any of these projects. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think these things are really awesome. They're one of my favorite things. And you can win these gauntlets. So coming up here at the end, you'll see a link to the video that tells you how to do that. So make sure to visit that video. Gold Knight level patrons on Patreon get their name featured in the credits of my videos. So thank you, Xander Marriott, Other World Explorers, Jesse Rivera, and Louis Montserrat. To enter the contest to win these gauntlets, click the video in the upper right corner. To join me on Patreon and get cool rewards like discount coupons and free templates, click on the bottom left. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.